Minister, you are aware that in December of last year the state settled the first case for Larium damage brought by a member of the Defence Forces. No witnesses called, no evidence to defend the case. In fact, the man himself was attacked and it took him 4 long years before he got the settlement. Now, in light of the decision of the Taoiseach to request the Attorney-General to consider withdrawing from the legal actions in the cervical cancer scenario, have you requested a similar intervention in relation to the Larium cases, given the successful case taken by the first Defence Forces member? And if you haven't done that, why haven't you done it?
Minister, 2 minutes.
This is number
10. We'll be reverting back to number 9. It was I had inadvertently.
Sorry, it's okay. Sorry.
No, my fault. Number 10.
The Deputy will be aware that the State Claims Agency manages personal injury claims on behalf of the Department of Defence. The Larium case referred to by the Deputy was settled on the 30th of November 2017 without admission of liability. The plaintiff withdrew any part of his claim in relation to choice by the defendants of Larium as a chemoprophylaxis. All other matters are settled and the case was struck out. You will appreciate that it would be inappropriate of me to discuss legal strategy in respect of ongoing litigation. I assure the Deputy that the health and safety and welfare of the men and women of the Defence Force is a key priority for me and military management. There are 3 anti-malaria drugs, namely Larium, Malaron and doxycycline, which continue to be used by the Defence Forces. The selection by a medical officer of the most appropriate drug for use is a complex one and is dependent on a number of factors. All of these anti-malaria drugs have contraindications and side effects. Significant precautions are taken by the Defence Force medical officers in assessing the medical suitability by the members of the Defence Forces to take any of the malarial medications. It is a policy of the Defence Forces that personnel are individually screened for fitness for service overseas and medical suitable. There is a range of support services, both medical and non-medical, available to all Defence Forces personnel who may require these services for whatever reason. These include access to Defence Forces medical officers, psychological and social workers, psychiatric and social workers services, in addition to Defence Forces support personnel to PSS. Provide a confidential information education support referred service designed to give Defence Forces personnel and their families access to information and services both from within and the military community and outside it.
The balance or the remainder will be included in the official report. Deputy Clare Daly. 1 minute.
Rank is probably one of the most pathetic answers I've ever come across in this House, and it's up against some pretty stiff competition. The reality is that ye settled the case that was before the courts in December. It's a fact that there are many more Defence Forces personnel lined up who are similarly affected. It's a fact that this House passed a motion urging the Defence Forces to stop prescribing Larium in line with best practice out there, a decision that has been brazenly actually ignored by the Defence Forces, presumably on the basis of legal advice, because if they stopped prescribing it, they'd be in effect admitting liability. Now, we can drag this out and cause these people further injury and damage by fighting their claims, or we can sit down and deal with it responsibly, as has been suggested in the cervical cancer situation, possibly considering a redress scenario. Now, you know that Roche have withdrawn Larium from sale in Ireland. I presume you have a stockpile that you're trying to get through first. Is that the case? They've made the decision for you. Would you get the Defence Forces to cop up, grow up and deal with the reality that's out there now and take responsibility for their actions?
Well, as I outlined to the Deputy previously, the Roche withdrew from Ireland for commercial reasons, and they are the reasons why they withdrew from Ireland. The case in which the Deputy refers to was settled without any admission of liability, and I'm not going to go further into the circumstances of any one case. But as I have stated previously in the House, Deputy, to you and to many others, that the decision for The prescribing of medication, i.e. Larium, is a matter for the medical professionals in the Defence Forces and for any other medical profession. I don't think there's any or many people in this House here are qualified to prescribe any form of medication. And we've been told that Larium is one of a range of medications that is available, that it is on the register for the World Health Organisation, and this is the one that is prescribed by the medical professionals within the Defence Forces, and that is the advice that I have been given. And for as long as they are happy to prescribe that on medical advice, what I would accept.
A supplementary from
Minister to flounder on advice given to you by officials, and I'll put it to you again. In light of Roche withdrawing the drug from sale, in light of the Cole case, in light of the fact that in 2016 the UK government ended the use of Larium in the armed forces except in restricted cases, in light of the fact it's a drug of last resort in Britain, the US, Australia, Canada, because of the damage that it does and the evidence of the harmful side effects, will you not now go to the Attorney-General in light of the fact of the multiple number of cases that are outstanding here and request that we would address this responsibility in some different way? Stop prescribing it now, adding to the numbers who will be taking cases in the future, but also deal with those cases in the pipeline. And rather than aggressively contesting court cases, sit down, possibly address some form of redress, because it's the right thing to do for the people that you've said you want to defend, the members of the Defence Forces.
Similar to my last question, again, I've asked why is the default position of the state, in particular the State Claims Agency, to close ranks? Will you ask the State Claims Agency to withdraw their prevarication and delays in the cases that are before the courts? And, Minister, can you answer, if Roche has withdrawn Larium from sale in Ireland, where is the Irish Defence Forces sourcing the Larium tablets now? Is it on the black market? Because the information I have is that most of European countries, if not all, the Roches or Larium is no longer available, are not for sale by Roche anymore.
Minister to respond to both.
I will come back to Deputy Osnadi on where do we get our medication from, Larium medication from. But I do know, Deputy, and let me state, that Roche pulled out of Ireland, I think it was in 2015 or 2016, for commercial reasons, for no other reasons. And I just want to repeat to Deputy Clare Daly again, as I have already indicated, that the use of anti-malarial drugs is a medical matter and should be decided by a medical officer. I'm not given the advice by any official. I'm being given this advice by a medical officer, where they are based in the Irish Defence Forces, and they have informed me that Larium is the most suitable drug that is available out there. And I'm not going to go into any of the legal cases that are before the legal system at this moment in time, and I hope the Deputy understands why I cannot go in to any of the legal cases that are out there.
Now, recommend the Rashka the Ivra Knee, Chapter Ingus Snuddy.
Minister, I asked you in committee recently whether you believe it was appropriate for